Hey guys, it's Anthony, and today I want to talk to you about some things that I've noticed as I've transitioned from being an employee to being my own boss and being self-employed. I think these are really helpful tips that will help all of you out. I know that you're starting out in the very beginning. This is something completely new to you, and you're looking to transition from a traditional 9 to 5 or any job hours that you work into something that's completely free that allows you to have geographic freedom, time freedom, and really just control over what you're doing. And these things have taken me a little while to realize, but now that I've been paying closer attention to what's changed in my life over this last year, I think these are really helpful tips that you can benefit from hearing. So the first one is really just becoming the decision maker. I know that when I was an employee, I got orders from my boss, and those were the key objectives, the targets or the metrics that we needed to hit for that month. And somebody put time and effort into making those decisions, into analyzing data, and into figuring out what it was going to take for us to be successful. And that's not something that's going to happen once you become self-employed. You're going to be the person who's making those decisions. So becoming the decision maker as soon as possible and learning to trust your intuition and really just be okay with making mistakes is a key part, I think, when you transition from being an employee. You won't have anybody to blame but you, because you're going to be basically the person who's running the show. And a lot of people, when they're employees, they think, well, if I do what I'm supposed to do and we fail, it's not really my fault, because there's always somebody that you can put the blame on, somebody who's usually higher above you, all the way up to the top of the company. But when you run your own show, there's really nobody else but you. So I think it's just important to get really clear and understand that even if you make a mistake, even if something doesn't go as planned, it's okay. The best thing you can do is decide to do something. Indecision is really only going to slow you down, and it's going to prevent you from getting those results that you want. If you're thinking to yourself that you're scared and you don't know exactly how you're going to make these decisions, don't worry, I completely understand. I was the same way. But what I've realized is that the longer I took to do this, it was really just making my business run slower. So that's why I'm encouraging you to start right now, to accept the role as being the decision maker, because the decisions that you're going to make, whether they're right or wrong at the time, are still going to give you the knowledge that you need so that you can get better. And really, that's what it's about. It's not about getting it right the first time. It's about trusting yourself and being willing to take the risks so you can start progressing over and over when you learn from mistakes or when things are successful. Another thing that I think is really important is your schedule. So creating your own schedule. And I don't mean picking, your shifts Monday through Friday and the hours that you're going to work. That is still obviously part of what you're going to need to do. But when you become self-employed, you have to realize that your schedule isn't set in stone. You don't have a time period like you did when you were an employee, when you had to show up for work and you had Tuesdays and Thursdays off. And so every other day that you were working, you knew I have to be on 9 to 5 on this day of the week, and then once I'm off work, it's over. When you become self-employed, you don't get that luxury. You're going to have to be on all the time. You're going to have to be ready to make decisions and to do work whenever that comes up. The downside to that is that you're going to be the one who needs to manage yourself. So you're going to need to stay productive and not get distracted. But the plus side to this is that you're going to be able to work when you want to. So you won't be stuck with a routine schedule that requires you to go into work even when there's nothing to be done. You can start leveraging your time more effectively. And when there isn't anything that needs to be done, you can enjoy that free time. That's where the free time comes in. You get to go out and do the things that you want. You get to make the plans around that time so that you're able to go and do those things. And I don't know about you, but to me, trading off a little bit of, having to motivate myself and stay on task for all the freedom that you get when you run your own business is worth it. So I think it's really important to highlight that the days of the week that you work, the times, the hours, everything, you need to be able to manage that and understand when you're the most productive and when you can get things done. Also, as part of your schedule, what you need to be doing is planning out what specific tasks and actions have to take place. So it's not so much about what hours you're going to work. because you're not going to get paid for just sitting there on the computer for 5 hours. You're going to get paid by doing an income producing activity on the computer. So the relationship with time and money changes completely. And that's the next thing that I want to talk to you about. All my life, I was told that time equaled money, and that if I wanted to make more money, I was going to have to give up and sacrifice more of my time. And foolishly, I believed this for the majority of my life. And it wasn't until I really sat there and thought to myself, how can time equal money if we all have the same amount of time each day? How can somebody work a similar 8-hour shift as me, but make 2 or 3 times as much money? And logically, it didn't make any sense. I said, there's no way that more time equals more money. The secret lies in what you do with that time. So you have to become more valuable than you are right now if you want to make more money in the same amount of time. And that just comes with understanding who you are, leveraging your talents and your skills, and really just becoming more valuable to other people so that they're willing to pay you more for your time. Time is not money, because time is time and money is money. You know, this example translates to so many other things. If you go into the gym and you sit there for 8 hours, 5 days a week, you're not going to get any results. You need to go into the gym with a plan, right? And that's why you see people who are successful, who are getting into shape, they go in with a workout plan. They have specific weights they're going to lift, how many repetitions they're going to do, and they go in and they knock that out. And that's where they get the results. So it's kind of the same idea when you're talking about running your own business. You don't need to spend hours doing things. You need to figure out what things need to get done so that your business can be productive and so that you can earn income. And if those things only take up 2 or 3 days a week, then great. That's the goal. It's to be able to earn passive income. But in the very beginning, it probably won't be that way. You might sacrifice a little bit more time because you don't know what you're doing. And that's okay. You know, the whole learning process is going to come into play. And at some point, you're going to eventually get better at what you're doing, and you're not going to need as much time to get it done. So just continue thinking about time and money as 2 separate things. The amount of money that you make is going to be directly correlated with what you do with your time, not so much how much of your time you're spending on something. These are 3 things that I believe have completely helped me out in transitioning. I was an employee for all of my life, and I used to complain about my bosses, and I used to, be unhappy, and I didn't understand why. But when I realized that it was because I wanted to run the show myself, that was the easy part. The hard part was actually running the show. And so, over this last year, I've really been working hard to get better at understanding myself and understanding what motivates me and keeps me moving, and what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, because all these things, they're going to help you grow so much faster. You just have to be open to the experience. And I think if you think about these 3 topics that I've talked with you about today, and you really analyze them, and you just start thinking more about what you need to do in regards to becoming the decision maker and creating your own schedule and your relationship with time and money, if you start to focus more on what specific things you're going to do, then I think you're going to be just one step closer to getting everything started the way that you want. And that's what I want for you. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video, and I do look forward to speaking to you on the next one.